Hey folks, this is Gray here, and in today's video I'm going to show you how to thin out your carrots in your raised bed garden. So in this video, all you're really going to need is a pair of shears. We keep these specifically for the garden. And for those folks that kind of want to see what else is happening in the garden, stay tuned to after I go over this part of, showing you how to thin out your carrots. We'll go and look at the tomatoes. They're bustling. They're starting to ripen up now. Of course, the cauliflower, the broccolini. I'm going to show you some clips of where we've been harvesting it, as well as the lettuce, the red lettuce that we have, and show you a little bit on the onions, and just show you what's kind of going on in the garden itself after we kind of focus in on how to thin your carrots. So those are for the folks that want to stay after and kind of catch up on what's happening in the garden over the last roughly about a month or so. So what I went ahead and did is I did a couple of them, and these are the ones that I've chopped down so far. I'm going to show you what I'm doing, but so let's kind of get in close here. As you can see now, there's only one plant here, and then of course you come over here and there's another plant, and so on and so forth. Let me get this other plant out of the way that I chopped down. As you can see, it's not perfect. I'm probably going to take this one out here. Matter of fact, we'll come in and take that one out just to show you how easy it is. Basically what I'm looking for is about 1 inch apart. So I'm going to come up basically to the ground, snip that. Let's grab that out the way. You want to look for the healthiest plant in the bunch. So there's that one, that one, that one. And you got this one and this one. What you're trying to do is keep them at least 1 inch apart. So there might be more gaps depending on the way your seeds are. These guys, those are a little close, but I'm going to let it ride, and so on and so forth. So let's go ahead and take a look at these. Move this around a bit. There we go. Kind of give you a better idea. So as you can see here, there's 2 of them together. So we're going to need to clip that one that's right there. So let's go ahead and move this little piece of thing right here. So this one right here we're going to have to clip. So we'll come in with our shears and basically, like I said, at ground level, and just cut that. Now some folks are going to ask, well, what do you do with this stuff? Well, honestly, what we do is we end up making a kind of a salad out of it. You can eat the tops of your carrots. Some people use it for their chickens if they have a homestead with chickens. Some people will compost it, but they are edible if you like the flavor. They're not bad at all. Some people, like ourselves, will also do stews and stuff with it, and we have something brewing on the oven or on the top of the stove right now that I'm going to probably throw some of these in and chop them up. Just because everything that you get out of the garden is usually edible. But yes, so as we go through here, we're going to continue to kind of make sure there's at least a 1 inch gap. And I usually use my finger here to kind of give an idea of the spacing in between each one. You can get a ruler out if you want to be really, precise. But as you can see here, let's move these to the side. You can see there that there's, to me, this is cutting it very close here, but I'm going to let it ride. As we come across there, you can see how that is. Now, let's show you where I haven't done yet. And you can see how, let me move these carrots to the side here so that you guys can see how they're all bunched up there. And basically what you want to do is you want to clean that up. So let's say, for instance, this one right here, we're going to take this one out and leave these 2. Now, if you get a bunch of them, like in this area here, I have a bunch of them that are kind of bunched in together. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for the strongest, healthiest top, work my way down to that one here, and save that one, and then cut the rest. All right, so now we got pretty much all of that done. Kind of bring you in here. Actually, I missed one. That one's kind of close. I'm going to probably take that one there. That one there, because it's kind of close to that one. You can leave them. You may get some weird deformed carrots and stuff like that. Some people don't mind that whole process about, having, some oddball carrots. And some people may ask, well, Gray, yeah, you got a lot of carrot tops there, so it seems like it's going to take away from your harvest. Well, remember folks, this whole thing is planned, and what I mean by planned is an experiment. What I wanted to do is I've had a lot of problems growing carrots here in Florida in my area by just kind of, by the whim of things and just kind of planting them and letting them do their thing. And we haven't really got good sized carrots in there. So I decided to do something a little bit different. And if you haven't seen the video, there's 2 videos ahead of this video where we plant the carrots and I show you how I sow the carrots in and how we water them and how we prep the soil for them, so that you can kind of get an idea how this whole process works. Basically what I'm doing is I'm taking you folks on this journey and sharing this experiment with you to see how well it works for folks out there that are struggling to grow carrots. There's some expert carrot growers out there, and if this plays out right and we get a decent harvest of carrots come spring, then what I'll do is I can expand this to an entire bed and have a ton of carrots, depending on how many carrots that I want to grow based on my family size, which is we have a family of 3. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how all this plays out. Some of them are still a little bit closer together, but all in all, I feel like we're doing a pretty decent job this year. And like I said, if I can bring it down in this area, you can see there's a little bit more gaps where I could have had a carrot in, but at least a 1-inch spacing. That one's a little close, and so on and so forth. But we're trying to do the best we can with the way they grew. I'm gonna move that around so you guys can see that. But to me, there's this one technically can go, but I'm gonna let it go. It's only about a 1/2 inch away, so we'll see what happens. And like for the folks that are following me in regards to this journey, we'll get to see the final outcome when we pull these carrots out for the harvest. All right, so that's kind of do it for how to thin your carrots out, at least my process on thinning carrots, and how to reuse these, because you waste not, want not, kind of, if that's a proper term, in regards to everything that you can pull out of your garden. Because there's a lot of things, like let's say those leaves over there, if you have chickens, you can use those. Of course, if not, they'll go into the compost bin. But all in all, I just kind of wanted to show how simple it is to thin out the carrots. They're about I would say up to 3 to 5 inches in height right now, and they'll get a lot taller. And of course, here in the next 3 to 4 weeks, we'll come back and check on them and see how they're doing. We're going to go ahead and give them a little bit of water and some nutrients here this afternoon as the sun goes down, and get those in the pot. Other than that, folks, the folks that want to hang out and kind of go over the rest of the garden and see where we're at and see how we ended up harvesting our lettuce, we ended up harvesting our broccolini. Now we're letting it go to flower because we want to get some seeds from that. And of course, if you look back there, lots of tomatoes are starting to make themselves shown. And we've been picking these tomatoes probably, I don't know, for the last 3 weeks now, as they kind of just ripen as they please between the cold snaps and the warm snaps, and as well as the other tomatoes that we have growing. So let's go ahead and take a look at the rest of the garden and go from there. All right, so let's start with the tomatoes first. Of course, these are the Candyland cherry tomatoes. They're kind of popping up everywhere. They're starting to, ripen up, like I said. We've had some issues with the leaves and some other issues just because of the different temperature changes over so far the winter. But all in all, they're still doing great. We still get some flowers and whatnot, but let's go ahead and take a look at the other side as well. All right, so now you can see the other side. I'm gonna try to move some of these leaves out the way so you can actually see the tomatoes themselves. And they're looking, these are ready for picking. I'll be honest with you. Sometimes we just come out here and pick them and eat them as we're picking these. But as we scroll around the plant itself, you can see that there's basically tomatoes everywhere. And what I mean by the problems we're having is this leaf right here. You can see these spots on the leaves. Basically, this can mean several different things, but it's usually a fungus. And as you can see, they're just kind of falling off. And we've been slacking because of the weather on trying to clean this up and keeping it from spreading from plant to plant. But as you can see, the other tomato plant is doing just fine. All right, so let's move on to the yellow pear tomatoes. These things are getting huge. I mean, look at these things. They're doing very, very well. And basically, you'll know when these are ready is when they get that yellow color. That's why they call them yellow pear. It's a very yellow color, almost like the guys down there, not the tomatoes, but the marigolds. A little bit more of a, I don't know, a darker yellow, but all in all, they will get a yellow in color. And of course, they're going all the way up to the top as well. Everywhere I look, this thing is loaded with tomatoes. Let me get that out the way here. Let me pull that off. But you can see the size of some of these. They're just huge. We've grown these before and they always do well. We kind of got to find little spots in here where there's just loads of tomatoes. We haven't got any splitting or nothing like that, which is always good because we've had a lot of rain. Not many pests either because of the cold temperatures. But as you can see, everywhere we go, there's loads and loads of tomatoes. All right, so first I want to show you the broccolini. This has gone to flower now because of the bouts of heat. And you can kind of see where, here, I'll show you, I'll throw a clip in here of us harvesting the broccolini that we use to cook and eat. And you can see where we chopped it down there. But let's go ahead and roll that footage. So in this video, what you're looking at right now is us, harvesting the broccolini and doing its thing. And it has a very good taste, and you can keep on harvesting the broccolini throughout its growth, depending on how far you want to let it grow. Now, if you look at these down here, I'm going to go ahead and cut these here in a little bit after this video, because we can still save these here and use them actually for the stew that we're going to do. We'll go ahead and throw those. We'll saute them a little bit. I'd like to add a little flavor to them, but then we're going to go ahead and add those to the bunch as well. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to get our own seeds. We're trying to get our own seeds from this plant this year so we can harvest the seeds, because the broccolini seems to do well. And if you can harvest your own seeds out of your plants, of course that's going to save you money down the road, because then you're just kind of, going through the whole process of growing a plant, well, planting the seed, growing the plant, and then harvesting the seeds after you've harvested what you want from the plant. Over here is our red lettuce. As you can see, our red lettuce has gotten pretty big. I like the red lettuce. Again, kind of not to be redundant, but the nutrients that are inside the red lettuce. And like I said, we also harvest these, and that's how we keep it going. I'm going to show you a little clip as I'm talking here in regards to the red lettuce, because in this video you can see the wife is cutting off the red lettuce because she's going to make this for our salad that we had that evening. And she cuts them just like that at the top of there, or kind of like the lower part, medium part, and the red lettuce will grow back, and it keeps that cycle going so that you can harvest some of that lettuce throughout its growing cycle. And as you can see here, the lettuce has bounced back, and it looks really good. It just keeps on growing. As it gets warmer and warmer, these will eventually, we'll just have to harvest them and take as much as we can from it and make some decent salads out of this. All right, so let's move over to the cauliflower. Of course, these heads are looking really great. Look at that. That is amazing. Some people, what they'll do, and especially if it's warmer, is they'll go ahead and take these leaves and kind of use like a little rubber band to kind of protect that head. But we've had zero issues, and the temperatures are still holding steady where it's tolerable for this plant to continue to grow. And that's just one of the cauliflowers. We can move over here to the other one that gets more sunlight than that one. And that one's doing really good as well. I can move that leaf for you. As you can see, it's looking wonderful. So cauliflower should be ready really soon and ready for harvest. And then we have over here our Brussels sprouts, which they prefer to see a little bit more of the heat. So I think as the heat comes in, we'll see more growth in that, because these things get pretty tall. We grew them the year before and we did pretty well with that. Our cabbage heads are starting to form. As you can see there, they're starting to get that little kind of cabbagey kind of look to them. And of course, that cabbage head will get really big, as well as this one here. And if you guys have been following, this whole journey through this winter garden, you'll see that we've had tremendous growth and tremendous luck this year throughout all the cold snaps, heavy rains, winds, and so on and so forth. And everything, the plants have done very, very well in maintaining everything that they're doing. Oops, let me reach in there and grab that. I'm gonna have to trim that old nasty branch right there. And the reason you kind of want to trim things that are dying off, some of these leaves here, is because you want to prevent pest and rot and any type of disease from affecting your plant. So I'll go end up cleaning up all this here this afternoon, and making sure that there is no bugs. Check the leaves, make sure, check my water, see how much water's in this bed right now with my little water meter, and go from there. But all in all, folks, I think we're doing pretty good this year in this little practice scientific winter garden. We've never grown through this month. Usually we start growing in February or late February like we did last year, but I wanted to grow and see how we can grow throughout the entire winter season here in Zone 9B in Florida. Let me know what you think down in the comments in regards to this, and always love reading your comments and interacting with you folks. or any other folks in Florida or areas or got greenhouses that you're growing some vegetables in, I'd love to hear what you're growing. How is it working out for you? If you're preparing for the spring gardens, what you got going on, and all that information if you care to share with the Grey community. I always like reading those things just because it gives me ideas moving forward for things that I might like to grow in my spring garden. Because once we harvest this, I may miss spring or I may not, but depending on the weather, if not, we will roll right into our summer garden, and you'll see a big change in what we grow for that. But usually we get 3 grows a year here in my area in regards to what we're growing. Of course, we have our other bed over there doing its thing. That's usually our pollinator in our herb garden, but most of you folks know that. We'll go over that another time because we got some things that we're going to be doing to that here shortly. That's going to wrap it up for this video, folks. Thank you for taking the time to watch it. If you can hit that like button, it would truly be appreciated. If you got any helpful information out of the video, if you just enjoyed the video in general, you know, the thumbs up truly helps the channel. And if you're new here, take a chance to subscribe. If you're just here for the gardening stuff, I do have a playlist in regards to all the gardening videos we've done over the last several years. Everything from sweet potatoes to corn to beans to you name it. We've tried growing it here in Zone 9B. But other than that, folks, remember, you are not alone. This is GreyMan. I'm out. I'll see you guys in a rebound. God bless each and every one of you. And thank you for watching.